Good morning, I'm Rob, the country traveller. I make videos about places that we visit, and that includes the Norfolk Broads, which we visited several times. I've made a dozen or so videos about the Norfolk Broads. Some of these have been my attempts to pass on the knowledge that I've picked up, particularly to help people who are visiting the Broads for the first time. Among the comments on the videos, some regular visitors have kindly added their own tips, and this video will pass on these tips to you. In no particular order then, the first tip is from 2 Ice Lollies, 1 Goat, who says, I'd add that all the rivers are tidal and that their direction changes 4 times a day. Also remember the wind, which could have a big effect on how your boat handles when coming into moor. Oh, remember that most boats weigh about 10 tons. Knowing that the rivers are tidal all along their length is important. When you moor up your boat, you should position it going into the tide or against the tide. Careful use of the throttle will help you to keep the vessel stationary in relation to the mooring, and you can tie up the boat. Bowline first, then, if all goes well, the back of the boat can be tied up. At Wroxham, the difference between high tide and low tide is about 0.2 of a metre. Not much, you might think. It isn't much, but it makes all the difference if you want to go under Wroxham Bridge.
I still have a party when I go under this.
It's amazing. It is amazing going under there.
I'm glad you find it amazing.
The same applies if you want to go under Potter Heigham Bridge. You can only go under these bridges at low tide, and you'll need some assistance, either from your boatyard or from the pilot at the bridge, which you'll probably need to book. The difference between high and low tides increases as you go downriver. The tide can rise and fall up to 2 metres down at Great Yarmouth. Mooring ropes should be long enough to allow for this. If you're planning to moor at Great Yarmouth, contact the yacht station, who will assist you to moor the boat correctly. 2 Ice Lollies, 1 Goat also mentioned the effect that the wind can have. We had quite a high boat the first time that we visited the Broads. We had a crosswind at one particular mooring, which made mooring up much more difficult than it should have been. Tip number 2 comes from the Mojo and relates to safety. Mojo says, the only thing I would add is safety mooring up. Never jump from the boat to the bank. Never get off unless you can step off. I've been a Broads boat owner for over 50 years now, and the most common accident is people jumping off. I've lost count of the times I've seen it happen, and some were very serious. Boating on the Norfolk Broads is generally very safe, but you do need to follow the safety rules. Accidents do happen, and they usually happen to people who try to take shortcuts. As Mojo says, don't jump off the boat until you can step off. This includes the person who's tying up the boat. It's easy to slip when you're getting off the boat, so make sure it's a short step off, not a jump off. Tip number 3 from Dan James is about something that we've encountered, though only from a distance. Dan commented, one tip I would say is avoid horning on Sunday late morning to early afternoon, as the sailing club there often races on the river, and you'll most likely be asked to stop if there's a start taking place, or have to weave your way around racing dinghies, which will take up most of the river. The old saying, steam gives way to sail, still applies today, although these days, of course, steam's been replaced by diesel-powered boats. You must always give way to sailboats, and if there's several of these racing each other, the situation can become quite difficult. Combine that with the tides, and we can quickly see why it's best to avoid this situation, if we can. Our 4th tip, from people who know what they're talking about, is from Jeff Pethick. Jeff says, another must is doing daily checks on the boat. There was a lot of weed last year, and weed filters were getting full, even after a short day cruise. The last time we were on the Broads, the boat that we'd hired was unavailable, as reeds had been caught by the propeller. The people who were in the boat at the time carried on regardless, resulting in the engine seizing up. When you pick up your boat, you'll be advised on the points to check. Don't ignore this. It won't take very long, and could be the difference between a leisurely holiday and a stressful incident. The 5th and 6th tips are closely related. Sailing the Broads commented, "You missed Horning off of your list of popular starting points on the Norfolk Broads. Horning Pleasure Craft is one of the best rated yards these days. Ferry Marina also have a fairly large fleet." Malco 1805 agreed. Also missed are Acle and Loddon in the Southern Broads. Although the yards situated at these locations are smaller, they're both family owned and offer good boats and comprehensive training for novice boaters. Both of these tips are excellent reminders that there's numerous boat yards on the Norfolk Broads, and we shouldn't restrict our choice to one of the big yards. When you're booking your holiday, don't overlook the smaller yards. These will all have customers who regularly return to them because they've been pleased by the standard of the boats and service that they've received. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned mud weights and showed a video clip of boats motoring along the River Bure. One commenter picked up on this and reminded me that the mud weight should only be used to anchor the boat in tide-free waters, like Salhouse and Ranworth Broads, not the main rivers. In the text below, I've copied a section from the Herbert Woods website which explains how to use the mud weight. Please take a few moments to read up about using mud weights in case you need to use one when you're on the Broads. The eighth and last tip from regular visitors to the Norfolk Broads comes from Reba64. I think this is great advice. It's scrolling now and you can read it for yourself. So there's some more tips for you to think about, especially if you're a first timer to the Norfolk Broads. It may sound like a lot to take in, but you'll soon get the hang of it, and before you know it, you'll be booking up for your next visit to the Broads. Thanks very much to those who took the time to leave these tips. I'm sure that many people will find them useful. If you've got any more tips of your own to add, please leave a comment below. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing to our channel to see more videos from the Country Traveller. Thanks very much for watching.